What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on? Welcome to So I Was in This House. And today, it's really So I Was in This Big House. I have been really wanting to do this series for a long time. And about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I sent out just some posts. I just wanted to throw it out there just to see. And I had asked some questions about, who here had actually served hard time and then came out on the other side and is in the trades right now and doing something meaningful with their life. And here's where this inspiration came from. And actually, he's going to be on Thursday. I'm in a networking group. There's this guy, and he served, I think it was about 7 years. And he gets up there, and I live in like a pretty decent, like a nice suburban kind of area. And this guy gets up there, he has a landscaping company. He starts telling his life story about how he ended up where he ended up and just the trials and tribulations. And I thought to myself, like, the reason why I bring up where we live is because this networking group is full of like attorneys and financial planners and all sorts of like people. And it's a ritzy kind of area. And he had no problem. He was up there. He was like, nope, I'm going to tell my story. And dude, the reaction on this thing was amazing. I thought to myself, like, there's so many people that I know that have been in the trades, after me being in for so long. I mean, what am I going on, 17 years now? I realized, I'm like, yeah, there's so many people out there who have great stories. And it got me thinking about the people that, maybe didn't make it out. And also the people that, maybe get overlooked, get kind of bypassed because of, their history. So I wanted to hear stories about, from people who, did make it out on the other side, because you hear a lot about people getting, rinse and repeating and repeat offending, going back in and you hear it all the time. You hear stories about people coming out and they don't quite turn it around. And, but these gentlemen right here, they all have turned this thing around. So I'm going to bring them on. Chris, we got Jeron, we got Curtis, and we got Elliot. What is going on? Gentlemen, what's up?
How's it going?
What's up?
What is up? Hey, Jeron, come in. Sorry, the logos. Yeah, come in a little bit. Sorry, man. I'll move you over. I'll rotate you guys around a little bit here. So yeah, man. So I met these guys. So every single person that's here on this podcast messaged me after that post, and it wasn't and I made sure it was kind of private, right? Every single person messaged me and their stories. Okay. Out of all the people, by the way, I got probably about 40 people that messaged me. Out of all the 40 stories, I had to land on like a handful, okay, per episode. And these guys here had the most incredible stories. And so I thought it prudent to be like, let me bring these guys on. So, you know what? I'll just start on the left over here. Chris, introduce yourself and what you do and how long you served.
All right. My name's Chris. I've served about 13 and a half years in prison. And I'm in Arizona.
How long you been in the trades, man?
Since 2015 is whenever I got my HVAC certs and everything. So
did you learn it? Did you learn it in prison or no?
No, I did.
You did? Okay. Yeah. That's cool. Did you said 13 years?
Yeah.
Wow. What were the charges?
I have 2 counts of ag assault. I have a disorderly conduct. I have unlawful imprisonment. So most of my stuff's violent.
Damn.
Yeah. I held on to a lot of anger.
Was that something that you now is
I'm
that
sorry.
something that you still is that something? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was breaking up. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Is that something you still think that you still like you deal with every day, or you kind of got past it and you moved past it and you learned how to kind of cope and deal with it?
Yeah, I learned how to cope and deal with it. It was, I can tell you, it wasn't me. So
It wasn't you.
no, what I'm saying is, in order to cope with it,
Yeah.
it wasn't me.
You're inspired by a deeper purpose.
Exactly.
How'd you get through
So
it? The big guy upstairs?
absolutely,
Buddhism?
absolutely, 100%. No,
No,
no, I know who I am and whose I am. So I serve the one true Most High God. So
the one true God. Yo, you know what's so weird about that, by the way? Like we talk about like the one true God, right? And I'm a big believer, right? Here's the thing. If you read the Bible, inside there, it references other gods, which is the strangest thing to me to think that like you could actually give your power, give your, belief system to something that is of something else, and it's referenced in the actual Bible. It's very odd, right? Like even one of the Ten Commandments, like there is no other God like more holy than me. It's like by inferring that there might be other things that you could worship, which is interesting. Cool, man.
well, if you even pay attention to the wording in the Bible, whenever it references any other gods, they won't be capitalized. Like
yeah,
it'll be a lowercase g,
lowercase g,
not an uppercase G. Yep.
But now I'm a big G. The girls say I got the money. Dollar bill, y'all. Oh man. Glenn says, thanks for your vulnerability, bro. Thanks for your bold vulnerability.
You're welcome, Glenn.
That's some hard time, bro. Ag assault. That's crazy, man. I can't even imagine. That's nuts spending that much time in the big house, man. You look so young too, dude. How old are you, Chris?
Yeah, I'll be 38 this year.
Damn. That's a lot of juice, bro. Well, I'm glad you're out, man. And now you're straight and narrow, and you've been doing the trades for a while. And you work what? Your refrigeration, you said, right? Like refrigeration, commercial. You don't do a lot of resi, right?
No, I do a lot of resi.
You do a lot of resi.
But I'll
Okay.
I'll go do some refrigeration too. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I fix. I mean, the only thing I don't really work on is chillers and boilers. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you better get at it, bro. You better get to it. Although I don't think you see a whole lot of boilers where you're at, man. Right? You're in Arizona, right? Yeah.
Definitely not.
No, man. Where
Yes,
I'm from, originally, man, we see boilers all the time. Curtis, man, talk about yourself, man.
Well, I did 7 years for distribution of marijuana, several counts. And
damn, for Chiba, that's crazy, bro.
Hey, don't come to Nebraska. But yeah, I'm an install manager now. I manage a crew of great guys that we rock and roll. We install furnaces, we install rooftops, we install geo units. We just get after it.
How many guys you got working for you?
We got 2 on the install, but the whole HVAC crew is about 12.
HVAC crew at 12. And but bro, are you serious? You got popped for pot and you served 7 years?
Absolutely.
Dude, that's crazy. I mean, were you talking like trunk loads of pot?
No, not necessarily trunk loads, no.
Kilos of pot.
No. A couple pounds. Yeah.
So, but was it a first offense? Couldn't have been a first offense, right? Was it?
No, I'm a 2-timer, so the second one is.
They threw the book at you?
Yeah.
Damn. That blows my mind that in today's day and age, like how long ago was that?
99 and 2004, something like that.
Damn.
What state? Is it okay if I ask a question?
Dude,
Yeah,
this is an open forum, and you can do whatever you want.
Are you still in Nebraska?
Yeah.
And is it crazy? So do they have medical or recreational there?
I think they just passed medical this year, but yeah, no.
Is something I've always wondered? Is it crazy for you to see like medical and recreational places open, and you did 7 years over and people are just doing it so openly in this day and
I
age.
came, I came from Seattle, and Washington was one of the first states to legalize. So yeah, it's very crazy. And 3 hours away is Colorado, so I mean it's the same there too.
It's
So
like these invisible lines, right? Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Just
crazy.
like you cross over one fucking invisible line and you're like, nah, you're fucked. Well, okay. Did you learn HVAC in prison or after you got out or before?
no, I actually apprenticed. I started before I went in, but the money selling weed was better, so I kind of messed it up. So
Oh man,
and,
I like
um,
HVAC, but the money was better than weed.
yeah. So yeah. So I started. I was there apprentice for about a year and a half, and then I got in trouble and went in. So
And then when you came out, did you have to like kind of relearn, or did you learn anything like in the big house?
no, I didn't learn nothing in the big, nothing that as far as HVAC stuff. No.
Damn.
So yeah, I was on the short, very fast paced learning. I worked a lot of 12 hours, bending 10 and 14-hour days. I was on a fast paced track. So
What about you, Elliot? Tell us about yourself, man.
Yeah, so just rough childhood essentially, and got in some trouble when I was young, 17, 18 years old, and got some attempted burglary charges and things of those nature.
So you failed at it?
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to, that's just what everything came out to. It was really unfortunate. It was nothing. Are you good?
No,
I'm hearing some feedback in the background.
It's but yeah, no, I got involved in some dumb stuff early. Got doing some drugs. Didn't have a lot of guidance, and then I got in trouble, and I got it was in South Carolina, and they have this thing called a YOA, and I messed that up a little bit, and ended up getting a 5-year sentence, and I did like 3.5 of that.
What was the charge?
Attempted burglary. So, but I got
caught. That was the actual charge you went away for? Attempted burglary?
Yeah, there was a few. We were kids, man. Just to be honest, there was nothing cool about like what we did on some thug kind of, anything of that nature. It was more so we were just kids on drugs.
Yeah.
And we were doing Roxy's at 17, and Roxy 30s at 17 years old, just running the streets, being wild. And
and this was where?
South Carolina. And
South Carolina.
And we did it was terrible, and ended up doing 3.5 years off of a 5-year sentence.
Damn.
I got out 2015, 2014, 2015, and just been crushing it at HVAC since. Been doing it for 10 years now. So
yeah. Hey, I don't know who's in the background and who, because I can't tell, but whoever it is, if you want to mute yourself, that's cool. Oh, okay.
All right.
It's all good.
I don't even know how to mute myself.
I got you, dog.
Oh, I figured it out. No, I got it.
You got it. Okay. So Elliot, but you're pretty. I mean, what do you do now, man? Because you're in HVAC sales too, right? Like you.
Yeah. So I'm in sales. And I got some, future stuff going on, but right now, so I'm doing sales. I did 2 years install. Crushed it. Became a lead after a year. Then I did 6 years in service. And by the end of my service career, I was doing $1 million truck 2 years in a row. And then my last, I did 2 years in management, and then this past year and a half, I've been doing sales.
You're crushing it, bro. I know you sent me over some numbers. I'm like, dude, you're crushing it. And I did a lot of HVAC sales. That's why I love to see the numbers, man. It's pretty freaking cool.
Did 2.3 this year, so that was pretty.
2.3 milli.
Yeah, that was pretty. Hitting it big. Just going after it, trying to do all I can, though. You know what I mean? I'm very personable, and I care a lot about. This isn't just a hustle to me. I care a lot about the trade and the things that we offer when we come to the table. So,
well, you know what, man? Kudos, because a lot of people don't understand that if you're going to do those kind of numbers, a lot of people trust you, and you got it. There's no luck in that at all. It's not the gift of gab. It's not like, oh, you're just a good persuader. It has nothing to do with that. It means you're doing the right thing. It means you're doing all the things you supposed to be doing. Okay. Very rarely do I see a guy who's super successful in like HVAC sales or anything like that who's doing it the wrong way. I just don't see it. We just don't see it anymore because people are smart now. I mean, you can just freaking Google stuff. You don't have to. The days of like these like quick tongue like sales reps, like they just don't exist anymore. Cool, man. I want to talk to you more about your success, but Jeron, bro, like I want to tell everybody when Jeron called me, and not everybody's story was just like I was blown away. But I will say, when I talked to Jeron, man, Jeron's story, man, it touched me, bro. I mean, go ahead and you tell it, and then I'll chime in start from the beginning, man.
Well, I got on drugs at a really young age. I had a great upbringing. Had a great support system. My grandparents were amazing. But I just simply wanted. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but like I kind of wanted to experience. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Like, kind of experience that life. Like, I chose to be the bad kid. You know what I mean? Like, that was what I wanted to do. So that led down a horrible road. Like I said, at a young age, I was in and out of different kind of like mental facilities and drug rehabs for a young child. Then worked my way into going to prison for selling drugs. Can't support a drug habit, working a 9 to 5.
Nope.
So the only way to keep up with my habit was selling drugs. Land me into the penitentiary 3 times. Along the way, I had some children. They got took from me my last time I was in prison by DHS. But obviously, they didn't get took from me because I'd been incarcerated for 2 years when they got took, but they got took from my baby mama. I mean, pretty much right then, I decided like, enough was enough. I didn't have a mom or a dad. They both was on drugs and was nowhere to be found. But like I said, I had my grandparents. They was more than parents, but still ain't the same. So, I mean, that's my story.
And then you got caught up, right? In what, high school or like right after you graduated high school?
No, I never made it that far, Bub. I mean, I quit school in 7th grade. I'm 27 years old, and I got my son turns 12, so I was 15 whenever he was born.
Yeah. And then when you went away, he got taken from you, right? And
the last time, yeah, the last time I went to prison, him and my daughter Chevy got took.
Yeah,
we both got took.
And they went with a family member, or they went into foster care?
They went into foster care. But thankfully, I had an uncle who was who fostered children. So they was in foster care, but they was at a family member's home. Thankfully.
Yo, when I heard that, all right, so I was adopted. I was a foster kid.
Yeah, that's better.
When I heard this, he's like, I lost my kids when I went away to college. When I went away to fucking jail.
That's a hell of a college.
When I went away to jail, I lost my kids. And then I'm like, shit. And then you talked about, so I don't know if you're okay talking about it. It sounds like you're an open book, but you talked about an ex, right? Or am I wrong? Or did you? Yeah, you have a new wife, right? You're married. You got a beautiful family. You're like running the HVAC shop, right? Or you're like lead technician, right? Or right, lead installer.
Lead installer. I'm run service now. Been running service about the last 8 months.
Yeah, you're running it, and meanwhile, you were away for what, 3, 4, 3 months?
Roughly 5 years. Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years of your kid's life. Your kid's 12. Think about that. So, and
That's
then, any of you guys have kids when you went away? You did, Curtis?
Yep.
Yeah. So like that's got to be, dude. That's got to be so fucking hard. You know what? And you know what's crazy? Like when I think about this, and it's like, you know, I don't know. Maybe I, you know, to me, it gets me a little bit angry about the criminal justice system in general. You know, we don't have to go down that. I'm sure you guys lived it. Like it just seems to me, it's just so crazy. I mean, of course, but let me ask you guys this. So you lost your kids. I don't know, someone's phone's going off. You lost your kids. You came out. You got lucky enough that your kids went to foster care, but the person who was the foster people was your uncle. So your uncle got you. So your son and daughter got to stay with the family. Someone's phone's going crazy. So if you
It's not me. It's not
if
me.
we just put it on mute or whatever. But it just blows my mind that you're able to like come out, and then now you had to go back to court. You had to go back to court to fight for custody back of your own kids. So how did you show the judge like that you were like, you know, ready to go? Like, was it tough? How long did it take?
It didn't take a whole lot of actual time. It was kind of a challenging deal because the judge that's overseen the custody case was also the same judge who sent me to prison twice. They literally said, like, this is no joke. They literally said, she said in the court, she was like, Mr. Nelson, I don't mean this disrespectful. This is with the most respect as I can muster to say, like, I did not think that we was ever gonna make it this far, judging off of the past that she knew me as and the person that she knew me as then. She literally said that in court. And she was like, I never thought we was gonna be at this point. But it only took me about 9 months from being released from prison. They was in my home.
Wow. So you turned it around pretty quick. I got a question for everybody. Okay. You all turned it around. I mean, Chris, you served, a decade and a half. I mean, crazy, right?
Yeah.
What was the defining, was it, for some of you, I'm sure it was a slow process, but was there a defining moment where it was like something just fucking switched off in your head and you were like, I'm not going back, I'm not fucking doing this? Or how did that work? What was that process like?
So,
Go on.
Go ahead, Elliot.
all right. Well, for me, sorry, I mean, but for me, it was in the sense of it was crazy. So I'm from, like I said, it was in South Carolina. Did time in South Carolina. It was Ridgeland Correctional Institution. We got down. It was like the worst level 2. So there's 3 different levels in South Carolina. And it was the worst level 2 you can go to. And they got down. And so it was, you had to get down, or, you know what I mean? And not necessarily gang affiliation, but you know, there was action and you had to be a part of it. You were immersed in it, or you were going to live not a fun life in prison. And
Wait, I'm not following you. Talk to me like I'm dumb and I don't understand the lingo. What do you mean?
Like, you know, we were swinging blades and there would be riots and popping off, and, you know, there was a lot of violence. And this was, you know, we're talking about 2015, 2014. I remember there was a really bad racial riot. Whenever there was an incident in Forsyth Park in Georgia where someone had been attacked of some sort, and that was really severe and bad. And it was like 2015. And this was like summertime. These guys can probably attest to it. Summertime is known to get active. There's going to be a lot of violence in the summer. People are hotter. They're more anxious and angry. And so it just seems like more action goes on during the summer. And it was just really rough that year. and that was like the year before I got out, right? And I saw some things, and also when you have these events pop off, like say someone dies, right? Essentially, you're gonna go on lockdown because there's gonna be an investigation for a certain amount of time. There was a time period where I was on lockdown 2 times back to back, and it ended up being essentially 28 days straight on lockdown, where it's just not coming out of your cell at all. And it was just a horrible life. And seeing that violence, you see some people that enjoy it, and I just came to realize that I was not one of these people that enjoyed the violence that I was seeing, and then I did not like. I thought I was this thug before, essentially. I thought I was a tough guy where, like I can handle anything
Right.
that comes
Got
my
thrown
way.
into it, and it was like, well, shit.
I saw there was literally a guy swinging a blade, and he's smiling as he's doing it. And it's just like, this is different. Not necessarily what I thought was kind of enjoyable to me. You know what I mean? I definitely, I could stand, I feel like, with the best of them. But when I saw that, I was just kind of like, they're on different time, kind of playing time than when I'm on. You know what I mean? This is fun for them. And my heart's beating as fast. I'm scared. Essentially, like,
Yeah.
it's a nervousness. That
Yeah.
natural reaction. And
damn, Chris, you spent a lot of time, man. It was like, I mean, obviously at that point in time, like, it's life for you, right? So you just like,
yeah. So in there, I mean, I've went through similar situations. So there's one in Arizona in 2015. I mean, basically inmates controlled the yard or the complex for like 2 days. So, and that was, yeah. And then they came in with DPS, and they surrounded the complex, and they're out there with like these beefed up vehicles and their guns and everything. And it was crazy. But the light bulb really went off whenever I was like, I just looked around me and I was like, I do not want to be around these people anymore.
Yep.
And
how long in were you when that happened?
So let's see here. I mean, we all go through like this time period where we're like wallowing in our own pity, basically. We're like, yeah, this sucks. Like, we're angry, we're upset, but I don't know. I just kind of snapped out of that, and then I can't pinpoint a specific time.
Interesting. I bet you do a lot of the days just blend together for you guys in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
For
I
sure.
figured. Hey, Curtis, let me ask you a question. Because you were not a violent offender. You're talking basically pot. What were you put into like a minimum security prison? Were you in with the Gen Pop? What was that all about?
Yeah, it was. Well, the first one was minimum security. It was general pop. But me being me, I managed to mess up enough times there that I got moved to medium, and then I had to work my way back down from there. And then my second number, I went behind the wall, which is the state pen, so that's maximum security.
Damn.
Just because I had just gotten out not too long before that, so I was not only a reoffender but immediate reoffender. So, I do have some violence on my record that I just didn't go to prison for it. So,
well, yeah, like it's not a crime if you don't get caught. What was the I bet you there was like a stark difference between like going to minimum and maximum, I imagine, right? Chris is laughing because he's like,
absolutely,
yeah. Hey guys, super cool. I got definitely some more questions. I got to say this because I got to be so grateful, by the way, for doing this now for the last year. I've been blessed enough to have a podcast sponsor in Cooper and Hunter. They make HVAC equipment, ductless, VRV, VRF. They're an incredible company. They still have R410A equipment available. And I just gotta pay the bills here. I'm gonna do a little little ode.
that ranges between 18 to 55,000 for indoor and outdoor units. Compared to a traditional gas furnace, Peak's revolutionary design is ready to step in without a hassle, thanks to its adaptive multi-voltage. True high-performance hyper units provide a 100% heating output at negative 13 degrees. Looking inside the unit, the new M-Coil is highly efficient and provides a better airflow that reflects in a higher static pressure. Our Smart Kit is included, giving you access to control your device from the comfort of your phone. Peak stands for powerful, efficient, auto voltage detection, and quiet. To learn more, visit our website or talk to your local distributor. Cooper and Hunter, addicted to comfort.
So, thanks, Cooper and Hunter. Yeah. So, as I was like playing that, I thought of this question. So, and you guys were talking. I didn't have this really prepared, but I thought about this. So, what? So you okay? What was the craziest shit that you ever saw inside? Like where you were like, holy fucking shit.
I got it.
Good.
I remember I just got to this medium security yard, and I'm pushing my cart down the spline, and there's a tower right in the middle, and there's 3 separate yards. Well, I get to the yard that I'm going in, and one of the guys walks in basically with me, and I guess he didn't have good paperwork because he started unloading his stuff, and they grabbed his big bubble TV and they started smashing his head with it. And I'm just, the whole run, like he started pouring blood out of his like head, just leaking, and it was everywhere. The whole run smelled like pennies and nickels, and it was absolutely disgusting. It was just, it was rough. Yeah.
Damn, that'll change your perspective on life. Damn.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Craziest thing you've seen inside there?
I mean, I would say that story I was talking about a minute ago.
Oh, somebody's smiling with a fucking what do they call it? Shank? They call it a shank.
Well, but the 2015 when it was a Forsyth incident, and you guys can Google it, and it was a racial intensity. I had never gotten with any kind of racial entity while I was in there because, like, I'm from a community that's very diverse, right? And I knew I was going to go home eventually, and what was I going to be like? Hey, like, it just didn't sit well with me, so I never joined anything that was necessarily of like my race, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was a few of those guys, and whenever that went down, there was like, I'd say 7 to 10 of these guys. And they got sent up out of there, and we have our uniforms, but we're allowed to wear white tees when we're out up there, and about all of those white tees were red when they got sent up out of there, and it's very intimidating. And my door's broken at the time, but I had lived there like a year and a half at this point, and in the dorm, so I already like kind of established myself, so nobody came messing with me necessarily, but it was still like very like going to bed with my boots on because I didn't know if someone was going to come for me just because I'm white. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Damn. Hey, let me ask you guys something. Did anybody else have a crazy story?
I got a bunch of them.
Yeah. All right. Go. Spitball. One. Go one.
I mean, mine ain't gonna be nothing about violence. Seen a bunch of that.
Yeah.
I think the craziest thing that it was like a moment of realization. We was in the Max, and I watched these guys make a Cadillac out of soap bar and like toothpaste, like the metal deal that goes around your toothpaste, and they Cadillac over and jump the run and go down below, and then they could shoot their Cadillac over and hook onto it and pull it over into their cell, and they get it back up. And as soon as the cops heard like that smacking down, they'd start running, and so everyone would hurry back up, and the cops would be chasing around the chasing around the deal, and man, it was just funny for me.
That is funny. You're talking about like a Batman, like a little, like a hook
It's
thing?
yeah, exactly. But well, they would just make like they're called Cadillacs in there, but it's just something that you can tie a string to, and it's
Yeah.
just weight. And so when you throw it out,
Like a grapple, and you throw it up, and you try to, yeah.
and you can hook onto their other ones. Yeah, like they'll put a comb. The other guy will put a comb on his about a couple inches back from his weight, and that way when he's dragging it back across, it'll hook on the line, and you'll be able to pull it in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think we lost Chris there. So Chris talked about finding God, and there's no wrong answer here. And if the answer doesn't have to be yes, but any of you guys feel like you found faith in prison? Because I hear that a lot. No.
I got closer with him. I got closer with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I felt like I've gotten closer with God after being released versus in there. When I was in there, I was like, my mindset isn't what it is today.
Interesting.
I can.
Go ahead.
I was gonna like kind of what he said. If you hang out in certain places, you get associated with certain groups. So I just kind of tried to stick to my dorm and where I was doing, but I definitely like got closer just in my personal experience, like personally, not necessarily going to the church dorm because they have like a certain area where the church people go to. So it was just more of a personal. And so I kind of get what Jeron's saying too, kind of more so on that term.
Do people leave, like if you're like a church going guy there and you're constantly visiting, I guess the chapel or whatever it is there, do people typically leave you alone more?
No,
Like
no,
no?
no, because the reason why is because, and this is why that everyone finds God when they're in prison because they're scared to death.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so that's why I never went, is because like that's where all the, I mean, like I'm just gonna say that's where all the weirdos are. You know what I mean? That's where all the people that like are just scared to death, cowards. You know what I mean? Like and are they're not even turning to God. I don't, now this may be kind of judgmental or whatnot, but I don't really feel like they're turning to God to look for God. They're turning to God because they're scared to death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
A
so
lot.
it's not the crowd that I personally hung out with
A
when I
lot.
was incarcerated.
A lot of the people that go to the chapel, and this is what I was getting at, when you don't want to be associated with people in a lot of people that go to the chapel in that facility are typically offenders of some, kind of crime
Some
that you don't
bad
want.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you don't want to be associated with on the yard.
That's so interesting. I would have not thought that at all, but what the hell do I know? You know.
It ain't like it's frowned upon necessarily, but you definitely, that's definitely not the crew that
You
you're
want to
gonna
be
catch me
rolling.
hanging
Yeah.
out with. Yeah, definitely ain't the
Interesting.
guys I'm with.
So
Ain't the guys I
I
feel.
guess I missed something. I lost connection. I came back.
no,
so
I was saying,
I didn't-
did you said you found God, Chris? Everybody else kind of said, well, they became closer maybe afterwards, but did you find God in prison, or was it afterwards, or was it?
Well, yeah, like my time's my time. I didn't really have. I don't need to go to church. You know what I mean? To get close to God.
Yeah.
I have my own personal time. That's my own personal relationship. Just because I go to church doesn't make me a Christian.
Yeah.
If I park a bike in a garage, it doesn't make it a car. So I didn't really have to go to church to basically study the Bible and to learn the truth and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but
So
I hear stories a lot
wasn't-
about people that find God like in prison, like they find faith in prison, that they were terrible people, they did all sorts of bad shit, and then they like somehow had an epiphany and they were like, all right, I am, like I'm giving myself to Christ or whatever.
Yeah. That definitely happened to me. He's able to pull you out of or come to you wherever you're at. So he definitely, you know what I mean? Like I took that time. I read a lot, you know what I mean? I studied a lot. To this day, I could recite verses off the top of my head. So
A reason it might be like that, Everett, is so I don't know for you guys, but in South Carolina they have an introductory prison, like where you go to get assessed, and it's called Kirkland Correctional Institution, and when you go there, so I did 2 bids. My first bid, I was there for like 30 days. My second time, I was there for like over 60. And you're only allowed out to go to the cafeteria, and you shower like 3 times a week, 2 phone calls a week, something like that. But you're only given, there's a certain amount of mail you're given, and you're given like 10 pieces of paper and a Bible. You can request any kind of religious scripture, but that's the only thing you're allowed to read. And so I did read a lot of the Bible when I was like in that isolation cell just to get assessed. But that's what I was saying, kind of deep in my relationship, but I wasn't at the chapel like that just because the association. But yeah.
I want to move on to a controversial topic for you guys. And chime in if anybody's watching. I think this is very applicable. I have personally worked for companies that will not hire convicted felons. I've worked for companies that were authorized dealers for large big box stores, and they will not hire convicted felons. So I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on, because all of you guys turned yourselves around in the trades and you found yourselves and you're all contributing members of society right now. And all 4 of you served hard time. I mean, Chris, you served the hardest, but I'm saying like all 4 of you are in some kind of lead role, managerial role, leading people, leading yourselves, and you're all really good at your craft and your trade. So I'd be interested to hear your perspective on, what would you tell employers that will not hire convicted felons?
I'll chime in. Felons, we have more to prove. We have more to lose. You know what I mean? We're those people that once we get our mindset right, that we're going to be dependable. We're going to show up every day. We're going to grind it out because we've already went through hell. You know what I mean? We know what that's like. And so we want to show up every day, and basically it becomes routine at that point. And, I was blessed with this opportunity. I've actually been turned down by some companies, and specifically they said, we don't hire felons, but that's their loss. You know what I mean? It's just
so now
having
what would so then Elliot, what would you say? Like, what would you say to like an employer that says, man, I get you. I can't take the liability, man. Like, what would you say? Or do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I understand business, like especially like insurance wise, it could run some issues. But then I know with tax wise, if they keep us employed for a year, they will actually regain money back. So I mean, it's basically weighing the scale. If they want to give us a chance, they'll give us a chance. But it's up to the employer.
So you're kind of like whatever.
Go ahead.
You're kind of like fuck it. You want to hire us, hire us. You don't want to hire us, don't fucking hire us. Yeah.
Well, I think we're great individuals. Trust me. Some of the best people I've worked with are the same position as all of these people here. So,
anybody else want to chime in?
I mean, you kind of said tax. I didn't mean to, but yeah, you kind of said what I was going to say. You get a tax break for it, so I don't understand why not. Nobody's ever been offensive to me. I've always been extremely transparent, right from the interview, and I've never had an issue because I was. Also, like you said, when you're someone like us that changes that leap, there's times where you got to prove yourself, and people know that and have that judgment of you. So I have tons of references, and I'm sure all these guys do, that they've done credible things since their time out. You know what I mean? And I have that same thing, so it's never been an issue necessarily for me. Sure.
Nobody grinds harder than somebody that's put their lives back together. So I mean, if they don't want to hire that, then that's on them, really. I've been scoffed maybe once or twice, but nowadays my reputation speaks loudly. So if they don't want to hire me, the next guy will. I'll make him a lot of money. So
okay. Jeron, what were you gonna say?
It's never posed me an issue as far as getting hired. I'm a little bit smaller of a population around here, so kind of like what you said, reputation and whatnot, and But I feel like that kind of like what some of these other guys said that if you get a con that an ex-con who's trying to change his life and trying to turn it around, then he's already been through hell. I mean, you can't stop the determination, you know what I mean, of someone who's really put their mind to changing their life around. It's not the same as Tommy down the street who's been spoon-fed everything, and especially doing, HVAC. Like, this shit sucks. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're installing, like, like you're getting out in the heat, you're the worst times of the year. It's not easy. We're not flipping patties, not in a cooled room all the time. So I feel like that a man that's been through hell has more grit versus, somebody who hasn't.
I hear what you guys are saying, and I'm gonna here's the deal. I'm gonna play the other side of this, right? Because I'm looking at it from both perspectives, right? If an employer doesn't want to take a chance on you, okay, let's do this. Let me ask you this, guys. You guys were locked up with a bunch of guys. How many of those guys are back in prison?
And that's a great point. That is a great point because, I see where we can get a bad reputation. I mean, I understand that.
I'm just saying, like, for me, I would give, I'm just a forgiving dude. I'd love to give people chances, right? But like, then could you see like somebody getting like, allowing like a felon to come in and work for them, and then next thing you know, well, shit, I let this guy work for me. He ends up back in. He did something while he was on the just. So I think it's a very personal thing. I think it's very personal. I think it's like, Jeron, I believe in you. I don't care that you were locked up. I believe in you. So I think it's very personal to you, and it's your story. Because you guys right now, okay, I'm telling you right now, you guys are the example. All right, you're not the four of you on this right now on this panel. This is not the norm. I know you guys know that. Like, the norm is going back in. The norm is falling back into drugs. The norm is doing shit on the streets. That's the norm. The norm is not being able to get yourself out of it. Right or wrong?
No,
right or wrong?
Yeah.
Facts.
Right or wrong?
It's really hard once you get out.
Right?
Yeah.
Most of my friends.
Yeah.
Most of my friends are either dead or gone.
Crazy. And dude, you look like you're 27?
Me?
Yeah.
30. But
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Everybody says I'm old because my
Whatever,
hairline.
dude. Whatever, dude. Hey, okay. So fun topic though. Here, craziest prison tat. Go. Who's got it?
I mean, I got it for sure.
What is it? What is it?
Hands
It's a
down.
smile now, cry later with the meth pipe as the nose right there.
Holy shit, dude.
I
Holy
got-
shit. Smile
that's
now,
supposed
cry
to-
later. That's comedy tragedy, bro.
That's supposed to be like a demon, and it looks like a cat.
Oh, I got some messed up ones.
Put your arm
So-
down.
so
Put your
on
arm-
this
Chris,
skull
put your arm
right
down.
here-
What was that? The skull?
All right. Yeah. So on the skull, on the tongue, there's 3 hits of acid tattooed on there too. So
Holy
But my
shit.
favorite one's this one right here. The Dilligaff. Do I look like I give a fuck on my
That's
nose?
fucking cool.
That's my favorite one.
yeah,
we got some, that's funny.
mine says ruthless.
Oh my god.
Shit.
So
Shit. We got some fun comments here. Jason Julian says, I'm a felon. I've hired several felons. Yeah. So, and by the way, Jason's a guest. He is going to be on, I think it's Thursday. So he's going to be on this series. My boy Brett goes, man, trying to break into a new field with no experience seems damn near impossible. It's not, Brett. You can break into HVAC. You go to a company that will hire you and will train you 100%. There's lots of companies out there. There's a shortage of tradesmen. There's a shortage, a crazy shortage. Brett says the problem is they don't care about giving opportunities. They care about their bottom dollar. In the same breath, they say no one wants to work. Nah, Brett, I don't know, man. I think you're a little cynical there, buddy. I'll call you later.
Sometimes I don't know.
I feel like you gotta. I feel like people come into the trade sometimes expecting too much at the start. I mean, you got to learn. The trade is all about what you know and what you can do on your own. Like that. At the end of the day, that's what you get paid for. So if you show up and you can't, you can't perform by yourself. You have to be walked through everything. You're not gonna make top dollar at that point. You have to work your way to it. You gotta learn. You gotta grow.
I guess
trade.
you guys already know that, like, when you come out, you already know, you probably feel a sense of being grateful, right? Just being like, all right, I just need the opportunity and I'm going to fucking go out there, right?
There's a
Everybody's
lot,
shaking
like,
their head.
Absolutely.
everything what we're talking about, from Brett's comments to, you know, trouble like with getting employed, like we all have this intense motivation underneath us, like a fire on our backs, like to push and excel. Because for me, 99% of people doubted me, and it just like fueled me to go way harder and excel past. Because these guys, you know, sure, they went to college and did all that, but they were very mundane with their actions afterwards. Where me, I'm like, what do I got to do? Like, come on, like, let me keep climbing this ladder. And there's many times, for what the comment was just now, where it's been like things trying to attack me and keep me down, because almost everybody was working against me. You know, you got these people who are the contractors who don't want to hire you, or co-workers who don't get along with you and are trying to, you know, make you look bad or something to some degree because you're the felon coming in. So there's many times that you've wanted to crash out and felt like everything has been not against you, but you just got to keep your head down and keep grinding, you know?
You guys will always be behind the 8 ball. Always. Like, you'll always carry. Do you guys always carry a chip on your shoulder? What was that, Chris?
No, I was going to say, I just read one of these comments here. Can we highlight that? Yeah. Doubt fuels the strong.
Jason, doubt fuels the strong. I like it. I like it a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, all that negative talk, all that stuff, I just let it roll off my backside, because the only person I basically have to prove anything to is myself. And going out, and just like anyone that does residential, man, there's a sales side of things. You are going to get no's, you know what I mean? It's those yeses that you focus on.
That makes sense. Yeah. You just got to keep going after it. Glenn says, man, thank you for your vulnerability and being a lighthouse for others to see what rebuilding your life looks like. Cameron says, big shout out to Curtis for showing me that you need nothing but gumption to get started in the trades. I guess Cameron works for you.
That's my nephew.
That's cool, man. I'm proud. Let me ask you guys a question. Now that you're out in the field, you're leading people, you're doing lots of great things. I mean, everybody here, right, really turned it around. What is one experience? Okay, and I ask this on every podcast. Okay, now that you're out, what is one experience that you've gone through in the field? Okay, with a customer, specifically a customer, could be an employee, but I'd rather it be a customer that lives with you. That no matter where you go, you bring it with you. It comes with you when you go into that next service call. You wear it like a badge in some sort of way that it just lives with you. Who wants to go? Who wants to start? Yeah, Chris, what's up, man?
I'll do it. All right. So we have customers, and they have pets, right? So I make it my aim to, be nice and get to know these pets. I always want to know their names, you know what I mean? And I try and be friendly with them. So the reason why this customer sticks in my mind is because the reason why they went with us, especially when their system broke down and they had to replace it and everything, is we knew the dog's name. You know what I mean? And to me, to that day is
just knowing the dog's name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were already there. They're already with our company, but it's just, I mean, they had other opinions or estimate options, from other companies. But you love
their dog.
Yeah, exactly. And we show them obviously attention, because people don't realize pets are like someone's extended family. If they warm up to you and they're nice to you, it kind of puts an impression on you too. So to me, to this day, I don't know.
I'm smiling.
Even when I type
I'm
in my
smiling,
notes,
bro, because dude, my daughter walked in the other day. I swear to God. Okay. She's 20. Okay. She walked in the other day with a fucking puppy. Okay. You know how hard it is to take care of a puppy? And so, but now this puppy's a few months old, and it's my wife, I mean, she's please, the puppy's gonna die and all this stuff. And it's okay, fine. If we don't take the puppy, and you're right, dude, because I see this woman, dude, she pays more attention to this damn dog than me. I mean, it's crazy. So it's no, you're right. Pets are a part of extension of people's lives, but that's cool, man. That's cool that lives with you. And you think about that. I had friends that used to walk in, service techs, we used to walk in with treats. and they walk in with treats, and they give the dog a treat. When I'm like, that's pretty smart, man. All right, who's got the next?
That same. I was gonna say that same lady. She gave me treats to give to my dog, so it was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Who's got the next go around here? What one? Go ahead, Jeron.
I got one. It's definitely kind of goes back to faith and the good Lord. It's kind of going to be kind of a sticky situation to talk through. So there's this. I had a service call, and I get there, and how do I say it?
Say it, man.
So, like, one of the first things he says to me after, like, I kind of get talking to him for a second, he's like, yeah, my wife, 53 years passed. And, like, I thought it was kind of strange at first, only because I kind of spend a lot of my time as going in between service calls and stuff and thinking about, my kids and my wife and my loved ones after I'm passed. And so it kind of struck me weird that he just started off and said that, and I'd been praying to similar things, kind of I guess asking for guidance, asking for I don't know, maybe peace, something, just kind of quit them thoughts in my mind. Anyways, so we continue on, and he'd said that to me, and I got his system fixed up, and I went back up there, and just off the wall, he was like, he said, yeah, me and my wife. Me and my wife, in the time that we was married in that 53 years, I'd say like let's say 45 years or whatever, is like we traveled all around the world in this kind of like a Christian marriage counselor, more or less, Christian based, faith based marriage counselor. This guy's name's Richard Exley. He preaches all over the world. He's got books and stuff, and it was just a weird deal, considering that, like, at the time, me and my wife had gotten into a pretty big argument, and so it was just kind of how things stacked up, and it was just super strange to me. And we were sitting there talking, and I asked him, I was like, how did you make it to 53 years or whatever it was? And just kind of shorten it down, man, it ended up that, like, I was sitting in this old man's living room, and I was literally crying. I'm 6'2", 260 pounds, tattooed, and this old man is just like sitting there looking at me, and it was just a super, like, man, I don't even know how to, like, explain it, because so much stuff that, like, lined up with that. There's no possible way that this man could ever form the words to relate so much to my life, and like, he couldn't have fit better, more or less. Like, he couldn't have faked that. You know what I mean? There's no way around it, man. It was a super super cool experience, man. I ended up eating a bowl of beans with him. I know that's weird, but like, it was a cool. It was, and I don't ever take nothing that no homeowner ever offers me. Like, not even a bottle of water. I always keep it. It's just kind of weird to me personally. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna eat at your house. It's just kind of strange to me. It puts me in an awkward situation. But I mean, I sat down and I ate with this guy, and I talked with him, and he still sends me a text message every single morning, and that's been a long time ago. He still sends me a text every single morning, without fail.
Every morning?
Every morning, every single way. It's just, he was sending like a scripture.
You told him your story and everything, and
yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's like so funny. Like, God put him, like, you're having marital problems, and like you need somewhere to look, and then all of a sudden, like, God's like, hey, Jeron, listen up, man. I'm gonna put somebody in your life, and he put you. And actually, he put him in your life for how long now? How long has it been? Months?
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been probably 5 months. I'd say 4 or 5 months.
That's amazing, dude.
And he sends me text messages every morning with scriptures, and I know it's
amazing.
It's I know. I don't know.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
NWA Cooling and Heating says Jeron gets named in reviews regularly. So you're obviously doing something right. All right. What's one experience? Who's next? But while we're waiting here, a puppy followed me home. Yes, puppies are a handful. She's cute, though. Followed you home, Brett. Julian says he shares his stories with customers and potential customers. Most have been more than happy that I came out stronger and made something in my life. I think people like to hear success stories in general. But yeah, go ahead. Who's got the next one here?
I just recently took over this management spot that I'm in now after I was working at a sheet metal production plant, and I was foreman there. And due to poor management, it went under. So I had to basically regroup and go a different route. I thought I was set at that point and didn't quite work out as planned. So I went and became an install manager, and it seemed like every single install, those first few installs that we did, gave me a chance to, I was put in this position to see people less fortunate. One specific was this guy who was a military vet. We did a free furnace, a vet furnace giveaway thing, and we put it in. Well, this guy, he had no legs. Both legs were amputated, and he had just lost his wife a few months previous. So it was cold. His furnace died. So this guy was dragging bags of pellets across the floor by himself to keep his house heated. It just kind of put things in perspective that you just can't take things for granted and be thankful for what you got, that deal. Yeah. And that was just God. I mean, if you believe in God, I believe God put me in those situations to see, hey, it's time to pick yourself up. It could be worse. Stop bitching, stop crying, and get back to work, basically.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Cool, man. There's actually a comment here in the section. I thought this was pretty cool. And it says, sometimes the right thing just finds you at the right time, brother. And that was actually I don't think there's anybody specifically that was responding to, but that's pretty wild. Jennifer Manzo, we love you, Ev. I'm in Vegas, headed to the strip, but I'll share what I shared for you. I know, Jennifer. This has been an incredible conversation, Jennifer. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you guys have not listened to Jennifer's episode, and she has to come on again, but I'm so freaking booked out right now. But her episode is fantastic. You have to listen to her. Stories are fantastic in the way she tells them. So, and if you guys don't know who HVAC Jennifer is, you got to check her out. What she does for the what she does for the industry is beyond anything that anybody's done for HVAC. I mean, it's remarkable. So I have so much respect for her. So thanks, Jennifer. Well, we got one more here. Elliot.
I mean, the list could go on and on, especially as far as man.
You got to pick one. You got to pick one profound story that made an impact on your life, specifically with a service call, a sales call, meeting a customer. We all have them. Come on.
The biggest one I would say is I've always tried, and I still do favors from here and there, time to time. Like if someone's like, they got a clogged drain line, and the guys go and tell them like, hey, you got a clogged drain line. We can't, this is such charge. And they're like, oh, I'll have to wait a week or two to get it. We're not going to make you wait for a drain clearing, something like that. We'll look out for somebody. But I've also learned to be very careful with looking out for people. There was one time, and it was probably my second or third year in service, and I tried to pull this guy. It was in an attic. It was in South Carolina, and it was wide open. It was an elderly couple. One of them was going through a disease, and I'm trying to look out for them. They got an older unit. They got a crack on their pan on the inside, primary pan, and I said, we gotta have to replace it. It would be very expensive and costly. So, and it's in the attic, so I had plenty of line set space. So I try to pull it out, and sure enough, as I'm pulling it out, trying to look out for him, just to try to replace the pan, the coil pops, and then we're responsible for the coil. And so you got to be teeter on. yeah, you want to try to look out for people, but also that was a big impact for me. And sometimes those people that you do look out for can be the biggest complainers, is what I've learned also. That callback city.
Dude, that's so funny you say that, because on a previous episode, like just literally like 1 or 2 episodes ago, somebody had said that something exactly like that. Or there was one where they said that like a longtime customer had went with somebody else, and the reasoning, I forget the exact reasoning, but it was one of those like little things. It was like you think you're doing the right thing, you think you do, what I mean, and maybe you just don't know, right?
I got one. Can I give you one more crazy one?
Yeah.
This was recent years. I sold it. I go to this lady's house. She has 2 children. It's absolutely crazy, this concept. So there's a main living area, then 2 bedrooms on each side of the house. I guess the 2 sons, and she had given the sons this house to live in as they're going to college, right? They don't have to worry about anything. So she's taking care of them. If it was me, I'm respecting my mom like crazy, right? But supposedly, I guess these 2 sons can't get along, and she had to put doors on each hallway, right? And one side had a thermostat, and you know what I mean? It was, so one side is monitored, the rest isn't, so they were having issues. I was like, she calls us out there. She already had another company out, change her ductwork, and she wasn't pleased with what they were recommended, so she wants to use us. And she was like, I want you to upsize the system, and I want you to zone it. I was like, I look at everything, and I pull her outside. I'm like, man, you should really talk to your kid, maybe talk to the kids. I don't think this is a good idea. She's like, I know, it's just they've been through a lot. And she's a sweet lady, trying to be sweet. And I'm like, all right. And I go back to my managers and everything, and they're like, go ahead, sell it. Shouldn't have sold it. Worst idea ever. Nothing but callbacks. And then come to find out, one of the rooms wasn't even insulated in the home, and we ended up giving her a free mini split. Like, it was the worst job.
Why not just throw some insulation in there? Probably a lot cheaper than giving a woman a mini split.
We didn't know. So it was an addition to the house. We go to mount the mini split on the wall, and as we're drilling in the holes, we see there's no insulation in the wall.
Well, okay. Well, let me just tell you something. That's why you should do load calculations. I'm just saying. That's why we should do load calculations. Guys, this has been one of the best. So, all right. So let me ask you guys something as we wind down here. What would you say, okay, to like your younger self, or let's say you're talking to like a young buck right now, right? He's in a situation similar to like what you were in or whatever it was. Like, what would you say to them right now? What would be your advice? Like, what would you tell them? Like, they're facing some of the same things you guys faced.
You don't owe anybody anything, but work like you owe everybody everything. That's a good way to put it, I'd say. And just there's a lot of times where I had to essentially, I put up a facade for a while until it became a norm, because I came out and I was still kind of had some mentality, because you're living in a different world back there. Yeah. So you come out, and a lot of ways that people operate, think, and conversate is completely different. So it's like I had to put on this like mask everywhere I went until I just kind of learned how to, like, I looked to other people, honestly. I looked at people that I wanted to be like, and I looked how they moved and acted in life, and I was like, I need to do kind of stuff that they do. They're going to farmers markets on Saturday. I need to go do stuff like that. I don't need to be at somewhere down the street on Saturday night at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 a.m. It's just time and place for everything, and learning your lane is the best thing.
So if I could tell my younger self anything, like, one, we're not defined by our mistakes. It's what's ahead. You know what I mean? Don't let that discourage you. 2, I definitely would have told myself, stay away from trucks at an early age. I joke about it. Yeah. But, what was the other one? Oh yeah. Don't focus or dwell on the rear view mirror. Look at the road ahead, and definitely don't give up. I mean, there were times where I mean, I wanted to stop, but I just kept pushing. So,
Yeah,
I
dude,
mean, that's
13 years in, man. That I can't even. That blows my mind to think about that amount of time. But you know who Weldon Long is? So
I don't think so.
so he's one of the biggest names in all of HVAC. He served 13 years. That the exact number. He served 13 years. He did like a 7-year stint and like another couple stints, but it was 13 years all in all, federal prison. He's now one of the wealthiest people like in this industry, period. He's like bought and sold a bunch of businesses. He got his start. He walked into an HVAC company. I knew the guy that he worked for, and we became friends. He actually passed away, unfortunately, of COVID, of all crazy things. But he gave him a shot. He gave him a shot, and look him up, Weldon Long. He's written books. He's a best-selling author. He's written literal books on HVAC and HVAC sales and mindset, and I think it's called like consistency selling or something like that. Like it's fascinating. But I've met him, and you should really read into his story. But yeah, talk about turning it around, man. Same amount of time as you. So, Jeron, what would you tell your younger self, man?
I would tell my younger self that probably today's fun can very easily be tomorrow's struggle.
Oh, wow, that's good.
That and maybe
Don't do that.
uh
Don't do that.
Don't-
That's what you
don't
tell
what?
yourself. No, I'm saying that's what you
Oh,
tell your
yeah.
younger self. Like,
Yeah.
Don't do that.
maybe be slow down, just slow down because you don't really even know who you are till you mature. You grow into a man. So don't make no rational decisions that will forever haunt you until you grow into who you actually are.
What about you, sir?
My younger self, I would definitely tell myself, stop being a pussy and get my shit together. And don't seek approval of clowns that aren't going to be there when it matters. You know what I mean? That was part of my deal, was out in the streets trying to be somebody for people that didn't give a fuck about me. So I left the people that did. So yeah, stop being a bitch. Get out there and get after it. Be a man the right way,
Yeah. I'm actually going to answer this one myself. Here's what I tell I've made a shit ton of mistakes. I would say to myself, no one cares.
Work harder.
No one cares. Like, you think like you can't do this or you can't do that because someone will say something or someone will think something, or, oh, what are they going to think of me? Or what, if I do that, like, oh, then I lose clout, or I lose this, or I lose that. Like, no one cares. Like people will say they really care, and they'll dig at you, and they'll say shit to you, and they'll be like, oh yeah, you're a this and you're a that. Like, really, that's just like insecure, what's it called? Like, when you talk at somebody and really you're reflecting at yourself, it's like insane.
Their own insecurities.
Yeah, their own insecurity. But not only that, like, dude, I don't care. Even if they were serious, even if somebody was serious and like they were actually like, dude, you're a this, you're a that, I would say to myself, like, dude, don't fucking care. Don't care about what that person says. If it's the right thing and you feel it's the right thing, you're not hurting anybody, you're not this, you're not that, like, just go for it. Stop listening. Stop taking advice from people that you shouldn't take advice from. That's what I would tell my younger self. Gentlemen, this has been an incredible conversation. I really appreciate you all so much.
So could I add something before we go? Because
Yeah.
Another thing on that is it's not about how many times you fall down. It's how many times you pick yourself up. And that's one of the quotes I love today. So
it ain't how many times you get knocked out, but it's if you get up. The rock.
There you go.
Yeah,
exactly.
that speech is the best. I'd play that right now if I had the bit. I'd just throw it up.
Oh man,
that is one of the best speeches. When you a little kid, I used to hold you my little palm right here.
Jesus.
Yeah. But yeah, hey, guys, anybody else have anything to say before we wrap up here? And I'm going to just do a couple of little tiny announcements.
Great episode, man.
Thanks for having me.
For having us.
Yep.
Yeah, I super appreciate you guys. I'm going to put you off here on the side here, and really want to thank you guys. These incredible guests. Really, their stories are incredible. If you haven't listened to it all the way through, I would recommend going back. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. I think it's on LinkedIn. TikTok kicked me off. I don't know why. But guys, this is a 4-part series. The second part is on Thursday. Then it's going to be just Tuesday and Thursday. It ends on next Thursday, which is going to be with Catherine Howard. And so for those of you that don't know Catherine Howard, she spent time in federal prison. Now she's the CEO of a company. Fantastic story. I have an overwhelming amount of messages from people, and a lot of people that didn't make sort of the cut or didn't see eye to eye, whatever it was. The stories didn't work out or whatever. But this to me has been, incredible. And I would recommend, if there's anybody out there that you think would benefit by, listening to this, by all means, please do. I have a ton of guests coming up. So many that I can't even my schedule is absolutely stacked. Really excited. Thank you so much for the support. The amount of streams, the amount of visits, likes, shares has been ridiculous. I mean, just ridiculous. I love you all, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.